Hello and welcome to Inspiring Courage by Vafa. I have the pleasure of having the lovely Megan here. Hello, Megan. She is the founder of One Degree Turn and a long-term friend. We've just figured out that we've been in each other's lives for nearly 10 years. So thank you for being here, Megan. Thank you and welcome.
Excited to be here. Thank you,
Excited to
Vafa.
have you. We've been waiting for this for a very long time.
Very long time. I think we've physically been in each other's lives for 10 years, but probably been in the same space for the whole of our lives.
I think so. I think you're right. There's a sense of familiarity for sure. And it's interesting that we first met 10 years ago, nearly, in the imaging department we were working at. And then we kind of didn't even click per se. We kind of conversed every so often. She was definitely on my wavelength. I remember when I spoke with her, I thought, she gets me. She knows what I'm talking about. And then we kind of disappeared off of each other's lives and then reconnected a few years later. And now we've had the pleasure of working together for quite a while. So we're just here to have a little talk about what brought us together, really. For me, Megan, it was our love of personal development that has kept us together, kept us connected. Is that the same for you?
I would say, yeah, absolutely. We're definitely in the same space. I would say you're definitely more, you think about the intricate detail of things much more, whereas I kind of just see what happens, what feels right. And that's why I think, it's a really good combination.
It's a good partnership, isn't it?
It's a really good partnership because I'm kind of like, let's just see what happens.
Yes, Megan often contacts me and says, this is something new that's happening in the market. And I'm like a kiddie in a sweet shop, get really excited. Like, yes, let's go for it. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's take it slowly.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Like, okay, then. So I'm the person who wants to go get it immediately. And Megan's the one who wants to think about it a little bit more and be more reflective about it and create a better strategy. So there's no wonder that she sits in that space, really, creating great strategies.
And I think a great strategy just makes things in the long run easier. It's not easy to get there, but it makes things easier.
Exactly.
Definitely. And I think, the things that you drop in along the way, for me, just blow my mind. And I can run with it. And when I run with something that I know is going to have a huge impact, I can, squirm about it. I can fight with it. But actually, at the end of the day, I can't put it down. And once I just accept and work through with it, it just becomes easier.
So give me an example of what we have talked about in the past, and you've gone and created a whole framework around it.
That's a big question. So for me, throughout my whole life, from childhood right through to my personal and professional life, it's been quite painful at times. And I think we've scraped each other off the floor a number of times.
Twice, yeah.
And it wasn't until probably the last 4 or 5 years I've started to understand why it felt so difficult and it felt so challenging, and it felt there was a lot of suffering at times. And for me, when I look back, it's because I didn't understand human beings, and being a human being ourselves. Even as I'm saying this, I'm thinking that just sounds very, very odd, because I'm a human being, but I didn't understand that actually a lot of the behaviours and a lot of the responses
and that's what I read,
that I was receiving were normal human responses. I thought there was something wrong with me at times. I even went down the route of being referred for an autism assessment because I felt there was something wrong with me. I felt I didn't want to open up to people. I felt quite scared. I felt quite judged. And I didn't understand that actually as human beings, we sometimes behave in a way that is painful to other people. And I thought it was me. And I think that's where it kind of brought me to the work that you do, through the workshops, particularly your VIP days, that I think I've done 3.
That's right.
Plus the ones that I've done in the professional work that we do. I had no idea why I felt in so much pain, so much suffering, why I felt everything was my fault. And like I said, once I get hold of something and I know that there's something to work with,
Exactly.
I'll do it again and again and again. So your VIP workshop for me was not a one-hit wonder. Every time I've gone back, it has just fundamentally changed my life.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because every time you've gone back, you said, you've changed it this time. There's something different about it.
Yeah.
Identical. It was exactly the same as the one before, but I guess the takeaway is different depending on the people who are in the room, depending on where you are in yourself to begin with, depending on maybe something attracted your attention and kind of consumed you in the workshop before and you were thinking about it still as I moved on, even though we kind of move on really slowly, but you might have been busy thinking about something else and reflecting on it and absorbing it, digesting it, and you didn't perhaps kind of hear what was coming after. So it's really interesting, isn't it, that the kind of personal development that we do, for me, is almost like, it's never the same. You could read the same book. I don't know about you. You can read the same book 3 times and you will take something different from it. You can listen to the same podcast 3 times and every time you will take something different from it. It's like building on your understanding of the concept further and further and further. You kind of deepen your understanding, don't you? When you kind of do more
Vafa's
work.
going down her
I'm going
details.
down. I'm going down my details. That's really interesting, isn't it?
Really interesting. So for me, it was, when you started initially to talk about values, identity and purpose, I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what it meant to you. I had no idea really what a value was. What I now see is throughout my whole childhood and adulthood experience, my body is being driven by values that I didn't even know were causing the frustration. Yeah. So, the second VIP workshop and that exercise that you gave us to do before we even got there, in terms of mapping all the painful points of frustration in your life and all the points that brought you joy. And I did that, and fundamentally that changed my life. And I made a decision that nobody thought I would stick to.
That was really scary, actually, because you texted me the night before and you said something along the lines of, I thought this would be really useful, but I didn't think it would be this great. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. And I'm like, great, thank you. If I'm honest, I was slightly apprehensive about you coming.
Yeah.
Because I thought she knows so much. I don't know what she's going to take away from this. I was a little apprehensive. And then you came the next day and you didn't even come in the room. And you said to me, I've made a decision. I'm going to hand in my resignation.
Yeah.
And I said, please, Megan. That's the first time I said to you, please, Megan, wait.
And
let's go through today. Let's see how you feel about your decision afterwards. And then at the end of the day, you said to everybody, hold me accountable on Monday morning. I'm going to hand in my resignation. And you did.
Yeah.
What did I say? I said, please don't unfriend me.
Yeah, please don't hold me responsible.
It's going to be a tough road ahead if you're doing that. Please don't unfriend me. Please don't hold me responsible. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it next week before you make that big decision. I've just decided I'm going to do this.
And I think I will hold you responsible because, yes, it's a tough road ahead, but it's not as tough as it was before. Not as tough as it was before because... And this is your famous saying, I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And now I know who I am rather than looking at what I do, which I think professionally, that's what we've been brought up to do. I think within society, that's the lens that's applied to everything. The first question you're asked is, what do you do? It's not about that for me. I choose not to care what somebody does. I
Yeah.
choose to care about who they are.
Yeah.
And for me, understanding who I am from that values perspective. And that's why every time I would, if you were doing a VIP workshop next week, I would do that same workshop again, because I can't not do it. It's part of the work that I do, in the same way that I do a lot of mindfulness work and retreats. That's part of my journey.
And I don't know about you again. For me, it's part of what's keeping me full. So I'm very much like that. I would go to personal development events time and again, even if I know topic. I still will go because I think that it's going to be said in a different way and I'm going to pick it up. And of course, I like doing different things as well. I do different courses all the time, exposing myself to new concepts. But sometimes there's that level of comfort in the familiarity that we feel towards something. And then even then we start learning more and more about ourselves. Because again, for me, it's a cyclical event, isn't it? The more you know how much you don't know. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is where we sit in very different camps, because I don't put a label of personal development on it.
That's really interesting.
For me, it's
part
just
of you.
how I live my life.
It's become an attitude.
Yeah, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, whether it's day to day, this is how I live my life.
It is a habit for you. It's a way of life
Yeah.
for you. I think I put a label on it because it's the work that I do and I need to be able to kind of explain to people what I do. And if I'm honest, I started this journey some 6-7 years ago, didn't I? Kind of, working for myself. And I remember I wanted to talk about self-awareness. For me, that's something that I had stumbled upon. And again, the values thing for me was a big aha moment. I remember we did values in college one day. On the way back, I used to go to college in Swindon. On the way back, I kept thinking, this is the reason I have been unhappy at work for 25 years. Yeah. And even though that day, everybody said to me, all my cohort were saying, you are very aware of your own values. And I kept saying, but everybody is, right? And I remember the tutor saying, no, not everybody will know their values, because that was the reflection I was having from everybody that day, that you know very well what your values are. And I knew exactly what my purpose was. So when we were doing this exercise we were given, I was very clear on the path ahead, because I think I had already started that journey. I already knew I wanted to get out. I wanted to have a coaching business. I knew all of that. And yet I didn't know that the reason I had struggled for 25 years was because my values were being stamped on every single day, every single day. And I think that was the evening I decided I kind of need to jump out of this, because for as long as I'm there, even though I was part-time, it was the system. I want to talk about the system in a moment. The system was kind of keeping me down. The environment was keeping me down. I was going in after my 4-day weekend, all kind of lit up and full up, and I would walk into the office, and that environment that I walked into, immediately I could feel my energy sinking again.
I think the use of the word personal development, I don't think that scratches the surface of what you do. Because I think for me, personal development is about our own choices and our own responsibility. And nobody can be forced to do personal development, which is why I struggle with, I don't know, the language to use in terms of what you do.
Yes, that's a difficult one, isn't it?
But for me, it's not personal development.
What is it? What do you call it? How would you describe it?
For me, it's about aligning and getting you on that journey of living your life through the lens of who you are, not what you do. And once that shift for me was there, things become a lot easier. So, for example, when I get frustrated now, and I've learned this from you, I know it's because one of my values will be stamped on. But I can go inwards and I can think to myself, which one is it? and why is that? And it's not somebody's done something to me, it's what is this teaching me about myself?
Yeah. So you don't hold yourself in that victim mode
No.
of somebody's done something to me. It's like, what is this teaching me? What's happening for me right now?
Previously, I would be expecting managers or executives or people I've put on a pedestal in a position of trust that I would expect to open up and say, this is what I'm experiencing. And I would expect them to do something about it. And then I would be so shocked when it didn't happen. Yeah. And for me, I've had to learn that actually I have to take responsibility for my part, that I allowed that to happen. And I allowed it to happen because I didn't understand that actually that was a natural human response to their experience. And that for me is what you've opened me up to.
Oh, thank you.
And that's why for me, I still struggle with that label of personal development.
So I'm trying to kind of, find the words for it really. So I was speaking to a fabulous guy who will be on the podcast later on. And I said to him, the work that I do, how do you label it? What do you think it is? And he said, it's about self-awareness. And I said, yes, absolutely. That's the very first thing we talk about. Self-awareness, is the root of ourselves. It is we understand ourselves and understand the world around us. But then when you talk to people about self-awareness,
but again,
it doesn't land.
It's more than that. What I feel it's given me is I am now in the driving seat of my life.
Amazing.
Because I am taking responsibility for how I live my life, and I'm holding myself accountable as to how I live my life. What everybody else does is their choice. It really is. If people want to come on this journey with me, come on this journey with me. I can guarantee your life will feel easier. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't think any less of people. No. I think it's just people have choice. And if people choose to take responsibility for, as you say, creating the life that they want, then they can with your kind of coaching. But if they choose not to hold themselves responsible and accountable for creating that life, they could work with you for hours on end and they wouldn't achieve that. No, of course. So this is about the nuggets of information and the aha moments that I've chosen to take responsibility myself to be curious about those things and delve into it. Do you remember it must have been the second or third VIP day? And I had no idea about gender bias. Do you remember? And I was all sat, everybody was sat around the table, and suddenly it occurred to me that if I was a man, the message that I was giving out to the world may have been received differently. And the way I been brought up, two wonderful parents, my dad's a retired police officer, my mum's a retired teacher. I could be very rules focused and just follow the rules because the rules are there. But at no point until the last, I'm 47 now, the last 5 years, did I have any appreciation that my older brother would be viewed differently to me because of my gender. That's never been part of my life. And so when that hit home, and I think that was late afternoon on the second VIP day, and everybody was like, really? You had no idea? No. And that's how I view the world, that we have equal value as human beings.
Because that's the way you view the world. You didn't think that it might view you differently, is what I'm hearing.
No, whereas for me, now understanding human beings, understanding myself as a human being, that we're all flawed and nobody's perfect.
And it's okay.
And it's nobody's fault.
It's okay. Yeah.
But it is our responsibility if we want to make it different. And you 100% have guided me on that path, called me out, challenged and made me think about things in a different way. But it's a two-way process.
Yes.
We have to be prepared to take responsibility, and we have to be prepared to lay down in a dark room and feel it.
Yep.
You know,
and that's the emotional intelligence bit that's coming in. Really, it's kind of being able to recognize what's going on in the first place.
Yeah,
it's recognizing that there are layers of emotion, right? And you need to take time to just process all of that, digest it, as I say, and then make peace with it.
yeah.
Because I don't know about you, but for years I could sense things. I was quite intuitive, even though I didn't think I was. That was really interesting. The moment one of my ex-masterminders said to me, "You're intuitive, you've got to kind of, do your own thing." And I was like, what's intuition? I don't even know what that means, right? And I guess it's because of the time that I took to sit down and think, okay, yes, actually, he is right. So when that's happening, that's what intuition is, right? I hadn't put two and two together, as you say. So I guess the work that we do, the work that we want to really kind of promote, is for people to become more in tune with themselves so that they can serve themselves better in whatever way, shape or form they see fit, right? It's not for us to say this is the right way or the wrong way, but it's for them to choose what they want to do in order to get the best out of their life, because life is full of potential. And I honestly notice that many aren't getting their full potential, and that includes me, right? Because we all have blind spots, but that's the whole point of doing this constant work in progress. Every day is a school day. Every day we'll come up against challenges. So, as you said rightly earlier, I always, my purpose is to kind of create happier, more connected homes and workplaces. That is my purpose. That was why I started on this crazy path that I'm on. And you always say you want to make things easier, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's making things happier and making things easier. It doesn't mean to say you're always going to be happy and it's always going to be easy.
Precisely.
They are very, very different things.
Very
and
different.
To get to the point where things are happier and things are easier, you're going to have to go through, that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory riverboat.
Tell us the story.
So one of my favourite childhood movies was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the original one. And when they're going through they all win a ticket to obviously win the chocolate factory at the end. And it's essentially all about integrity and testing people's integrity as they go through this experience. And at one point they go on a boat through a tunnel through the chocolate stream. And essentially Willy Wonka is singing this song, and it's all about uncertainty. Who knows which way we're going to go? It's all whirling around. People are very anxious. People are feeling like they're going to tip one way or the other out of the boat. You're going to have to go through that to get through to the other end, where it does become easier and it does become happier. But it's not easy, and it's not a happy process to go through. But once you understand, once you see it, you can't not see it.
Absolutely. That's what you say. I like that. When you see it, you can't not see it.
And everybody has everything that they need within them.
Exactly.
And, we've worked in organisations, we've worked professionally together, we've worked in different organisations, and we see huge amounts of money being thrown at problems. This is the solution. Millions, tens of millions every week. But actually, we've got everything we need within us if you look at it from a human effectiveness point of view. And we don't do that. We're very much, it's based on what people do, not who people are. And if you shift that lens, you've then got all these rich skills. People work together much happier and much more easily, and it costs a lot less financially and in terms of emotions.
Yeah. But again, it's having that understanding, isn't it? That you do have it all in you. So this is a famous quote by Hafiz, Persian poet. It says, you do have all the necessary ingredients inside of you. Yeah. All you need to do is just to mix these ingredients if you want a life of joy, happiness. And this is oftentimes either I start my sessions with this or I end my sessions with this. And the children I work with love it. every single one of them says that was one of my favorite bits, because they realize that they do truly have all the necessary ingredients there in order to have a life of joy. It's just that if it's not mentioned, perhaps we don't know it. So how explicit is it? I remember working with a team years ago, and she was like, my mom hates me. And I knew that mom didn't hate her. I knew she didn't. And I knew how amazing the mom was. But when we kind of talked about this in a group setting that we had, it came out that mom didn't say, I love you often enough. So the assumption was that mom hated her. She did plenty to show her that she loved her, but that wasn't understood in the way she wanted love to be demonstrated. So for me, it's about, again, understanding that some things need to be explicit, right? We need to say it. Unless we say it, and that's, taking us to organizational work that we do. People are doing an amazing job, but how
100%.
often does somebody say to them, you're doing an amazing job? Yeah.
But I think, again, it's more than that. So the people that are in the organisations, and we talk about the NHS, it's very close to our hearts. The people are amazing.
Absolutely.
But there is a very fundamental difference between what people need and what people want. And it's those fundamental needs that are not being met. And sometimes people think, I want X, and that's going to make things happier, and that's going to make things easier. And in the short term, I would agree.
Yes.
But we're being driven by wants, rather than
but that's needs. The society. That's the way the society is kind of dictating what the picture of success is, right? What the picture of happiness is.
We choose as human beings whether we...
Do you know how many people say to me, our life changed after the workshop when we realized we could choose?
Yeah.
So people don't even sometimes realize that there is a choice. And again, I say this without any judgment. I didn't know.
I did not know. And I remember one of the most painful experiences I've ever had professionally. And somebody said to me, but you can choose. I was like, what do you mean I can choose? Yeah. You can choose to walk away from something that is part of your life and you love, or you can choose to stay
and pay the price.
Yeah.
So
and I was like, what do you mean? I've got a choice. This is my life. And that's because I was attached to that identity of what I do, not who I am.
Exactly that. Exactly. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? That choice. I recall exactly when I realized also that there was a choice. I was like transfixed. I think open-mouthed.
Yeah.
And the person who was speaking with me said, are you okay? I'm like, I just need to take a moment to digest this. Yes, I'm okay.
I think we're at the point now in our kind of friendship, you can see when it's happening to me.
Yeah. But that's what I mean. We're never the finished product just because we know it and we do practice it, right? We do. Honestly, I think for me, one of the things that I decided to do when I went down the coaching and the NLP route, when I was doing my diploma in those, there was a moment that I thought, right, I'm not going to be here to get the certificate. That's not my purpose for being here. My purpose for being here is to become it. Yeah? To become it. And that's the moment I stepped into the identity of a coach. And I recall that was the moment that things started shifting for me.
See, again, I challenge the word when you use the word coach.
I'm not a typical coach, really, am I?
For me, a coach works with somebody who already has that natural awareness and that natural potential, and you coach them and you mold them. You're taking people from before that. So you're taking people from we don't even know, like if you had a athletics coach, somebody would always already know how to run. They would know how to do, you know, long jump. We don't even know what we're about.
So it's that awareness piece, isn't it?
So again, I struggle with the word coach, because when you're saying you're a coach, you're not starting from the same point that coaches start from.
No, of course not. Of course not. But for me, that was like a good starting point. That was when I actually stepped outside of my radiography kind of, you know, hat, if you like. And I thought, right, I can start doing this. And I think for me, that's why I'm so intrigued about the identity piece, the VIP framework. The identity piece for me is really intriguing, because I honestly believe that in order to step into something new, we need to already believe that we're it. Yeah. And that's what I mean by I stepped into the shoes of being a coach. Because for me, that was like, okay, fine. You are it now. You've got to start behaving like it.
So can I ask you a question?
Of course.
What is it for you now?
For me, it's so all the things that I value. For me, it's about being true to myself. For me, is having the non-negotiables in life. For me, it's about living my life how I want to, even though at times it's really difficult.
But what's it?
Are you talking about the identity bit?
Yeah, so I'm talking about who you are.
For me, identity evolves. At the moment, if you said to me, who are you? I'd say I'm a mum. For me, that's the biggest hat I wear, Karen. And then I would say that's my change agent. That's what I want to do.
That's very different to a coach.
But again, that's why I don't call myself a coach or a change agent or anything like that. I'm me, opening the doors of wonder to a certain extent for people, changing their mindset to a certain extent, of understanding that the responsibility is theirs. They can own the problem or not if there are problems. If they don't, they can numb and they won't get anywhere. It's a short-term fix. But if they want to, then they can step into action, whatever action looks like at the time, whatever it feels like.
It comes back to the question of who are you, rather than what do
I'm
you
Vafa.
do.
I'm Vafa.
So tell me about Vafa.
Tell you about Vafa, right? Vafa is relational, I would say, in her approach. I love people. Literally love interacting with people.
Do you?
Love it.
That's where we're opposite.
Really? Oh, I love
Yeah.
it. It's impossible for me to go to a shop and not engage in a conversation with a shop assistant. Impossible. So if there are self-checkouts and if there are people serving, I would choose to go to the people who are serving. And I would always ask questions. So this has become a bit of a joke amongst friends. I think at the heart of it, I want to see people, because I honestly think that a huge amount of transformation happens when people are felt seen and felt visible. I recall the moment of transformation for me when somebody, a total stranger, asked me if I was happy. And that was just...
Say more.
And I said, of course, there are elements of life that I'm really happy at, and there are some things that can be better. But I guess you can't have it all, was my response. And he said, I beg to disagree. You can have it all. And that just stayed with me. And I was going on holidays for 3 weeks after this little exchange. And it just stayed with me, and it kind of worked its way into my psyche that,
Can we pause on? Can we just focus on that a little bit? So for me, I'm starting to see, and this is feeling a lot better in terms of the personal development and the coach, in terms of what you do. For me, you've moved me into that space where I can have it all.
Interesting. Thank you. That's a huge compliment. I'll take that.
But that's not that I don't. Yes, it is a compliment, but for me, that's what you do. You move people into that space where they can see it. And we always say, once you see it, you can't not see it. And for me, that's what you do. You shift people from that space of programming. We must do this. Titles. We must have this car. We must have this house. You move people into that space of you can have it all. And it feels happier because it's aligned to who they are.
Yeah. You kind of have to redefine the all. You know that, yeah, to a certain extent, you have to redefine the all. The all isn't the same all as before. It's different, but it's better. Yeah? Or should I say it's different and it's better?
I think it's moving people into a space where they can choose what that looks like.
They can choose. I have a question for you. Do you think it's for everybody?
I think there's two things there for me. I think it can be for everybody. I think everybody has the capability, has the potential, and it will move in different ways for different people.
Yeah.
But I think people choose to go with it or not.
To engage with it or not, yeah. Even if they're there.
And I think it depends on how people evolve as well.
And how fulfilled, I don't want to say happy is not the right word, how fulfilled they are where they are right now. Yeah. So for me, there was a lot of questions coming up. So similar to you, I just kind of felt like a bit of a misfit. Not that I knew back then I was a misfit, but I definitely now know that I'm definitely the misfit, and I love it. Yeah. I actually play on it at the moment. I quite like it. And I was quite rebellious. So kind of inside of me, I'm quite rebellious, really, because I want to do things differently. But I guess the system, the culture, the adopted values were keeping me very much stuck to a structure that wasn't fitting me, that wasn't suiting me.
Yeah, again, I think everybody wants to do things differently in their own way. I think it's based on a combination of things that happen to people, that when they are put all together in a Petri dish, it creates that period of time where the body and the mind and the spirit and everything comes together and says, right, I'm ready. I do not want to live my life in the way I am living it. And I think for some people, that combination will come together much earlier. Yes. For other people, it will come together much later. For other people, it won't come together at all.
I guess it's whether or not you experience it, even in small measures. Because then if you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. If you don't know that it's possible to be different, how would you want to be different?
Yeah, again, I think this is where we differ, because I think the detail, whereas, and it's just where we're different. For me, very recently, one of my big aha moments, and you'll like this because it's in terms of language, was understanding what it meant to be unliked. And for a lot of us, it's, oh my gosh, that person doesn't like me. That's quite painful. But actually, when I broke it down and I thought, actually, fundamentally, what that means is we're just not alike. Yeah. It's not that I'm a nasty person or they're a nasty person.
Exactly that.
But that is how I feel we're programmed
Yes, people please.
to see things
Yes.
that, you know, people might say, well, you're disliked. Yeah, great. That means I'm not like everybody else. And I accept that because I accept who I am. Whereas in workplaces, in personal life, people like each other because they're alike. They are like that person.
So it's the tribes you're talking about. People kind of
It's just
join tribes just to feel safe and to feel wanted and to feel useful.
yeah. And I
Even
think
though
we've all done it.
We've all done it, and yes, I totally see that.
Because being disliked is seen as
a threat. It's a threat, isn't it? It's a threat to our
it's seen
survival.
as a bad thing. It's seen as you don't fit. You know, you're not going to get the same opportunities. You're not liked, and particularly with leadership and capability, that is very difficult for people. Because as a human being,
it's about
it's important for us to be liked, because that's about
that's
connection.
our survival mechanism, isn't it?
But actually, it's not about the fact that people are connected to you. It's the fact that you're in different roles and they're just not alike.
Exactly that. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting, isn't it? So what about purpose? So we've talked a little bit about values and identity. What do you make of the purpose element?
So I think purpose for me is what I've been put on this earth to do. And again, it's something, once you see it, you can't see it. And my purpose is moving and having moved into that space of looking at things of who people are, not what they do.
Yeah.
And that isn't how we've been programmed, particularly, you know, within the professional context of the NHS. It's very much driven on status, title, what you get paid, not equal value around the table.
Oh gosh,
very much.
We've experienced it once or twice. Yes.
And actually that causes a lot of the issues that we're facing, because people feel stressed, they feel undervalued, they're off sick. We've talked quite recently about competitive advantage and the fact that actually we don't want individual hospitals to be in competition against each other. It's about our beloved NHS as a whole organisation that is in competition not only with the private sector, but people just leaving the professions. And, you know, I think we've both been in the position where we've thought, I'll just go and work at the local supermarket.
Yeah, I dreamt about it once upon a time. Yeah.
Whereas actually we need to create this competitive advantage that working for the NHS means and reflects what it does mean to people. And what it means to people is looking through that lens of who they are, not what they do.
So where do we start? It's a journey, isn't it? That's a long journey. Where do you see the start point?
I again would flip that on its head, and I would say that that's up to people.
If they don't know, they don't know.
But they will only know when it's the right time for them to know. I don't think you can. I fundamentally believe you cannot force it.
No, you can't force it, but I do think that they need to have exposure to it. And the reason I say that is because the people that we've worked with in the past, you know, we have specifically said, for example, I know you don't like the word, but we've said that the body of the work that I do is personal development. And they've not known really what it is because they have no experience of it. And when they've come and we've talked about, you know, what brings you here, and I don't know, curious to see what's going to happen. And then at the end, they do take what they take, and they, you know, some take more than others, as you say, because they engage more with the content. And the feedback oftentimes is that we didn't know what it was, but we're super happy that we've been exposed to it. So for me, that's an element that is missing. If we are to develop the human capability, if we are to invest in the well-being, health and well-being of the workforce. And we are, you know, working within the NHS quite a lot, but this goes, you know, I work within education also, goes to any industry. It's relevant to any industry. You know, at the moment, recruitment retention is a huge challenge for people because they don't look after their people. I oftentimes say, why do you think they're leaving?
Again, for me, it comes back to choice, and it comes back to integrity as a leader within individual organizations. If you want to build your organization to be sustainable, successful, and built on who people are from a human effectiveness point of view,
Yeah.
I ask, it's a choice that only they can make.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which way do you want to go?
And that has become more popular in the way that people think about it, that it is that humanity element that they need to invest in.
And that's okay if they choose not to.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just about competitive advantage, as you say. You know, the peers would have less of an advantage on them if they were to invest and the others weren't. Where do you see the work that you do?
Everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I've been put on this earth to do something, and I choose to align my values with who I am, and I don't really put that much thought into it. I'm just
You're
here.
on autopilot. You just do it because it's become a part of you.
I do it because if I do something different, I feel
it. Uh-huh.
And it means physically, I'm unwell. You know, I was in a really serious situation about 8 years ago with multilobal pneumonia, and I was still at work. Another time I ended up in resus having blood transfusions. That's why I have to do whatever it is that I'm here to do, and I'm here to give people that choice, and really say, if we do look at that lens of being a human being and who people are, I've not been unwell, touch wood, for 4 years since I stepped out of it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Yeah.
So for me, all I can say is this is my story. This is the impact. It's a combination of lots of pieces of work that I do, but fundamentally, I'm looking through that lens of who I am as a human being. But it requires work and investment and commitment every day to do that. And if I inspire people, if people then become aspirational, if it plants a seed, and I tend to say I plant seeds and I just keep watering it. And if people choose to grow, they choose to grow.
Some germinate and others
and I've seen it work.
Yeah, of course.
I've seen it work. But it's about human effectiveness, and you've got everything that you need to be able to make life successful, make it easier, make it financially more viable, and be rich in every single way that you choose to be.
Yeah.
And people do tend to follow me.
Why wouldn't they?
Because it's not easy. In the short term, it is not easy. And I always say to people, you know, that is the honest thing.
Warning.
This is not easy, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. And people, I think, secretly, I'm now seeing people have looked at me and thought, I wish I could. I wish I could. And for me, that's kind of, I think, don't be so big-headed. Don't be so, you know, I want the ground to open up and eat me. But I do think people sometimes in the past have looked back and thought, if only I could. If only I could say the truth. If only I could.
Yeah, I guess people don't see all the difficult stages that you've gone through. They see this overnight success. Yeah, it's about the overnight success that people notice. They don't realize the pain that has been underlying all of this success. And that's the warning in a way that you give people. It's not easy. So I often say, take your loved ones with you on this journey, otherwise they'll be left behind. So when I start doing this body of work with people, that's my first invitation, take your loved ones with you.
But if they choose not to?
I know, but then again, it's about, sharing what you're learning, so that, because it is about growth, you do develop a mindset that is different, and it makes you look at the world through a different lens altogether. You've done an amazing job. That's what I wanted to say. And
I think we have.
I think we have definitely gotten over the worst, Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. And I think we've come out of the cave, and I think we've kind of, fought all the dragons that we could fight. And I don't know about you, but I still see dragons every so often, they're still there, but then the fighting is becoming easier. It's not, I'm not, as you say, not staying in that kind of space of dis-ease for too long. It's digesting it, processing it, coming out of it, and enjoying the learnings, because with every challenge, every obstacle, there are learnings, right? It's like, what am I learning now? So that's the approach that I have. And it's been an interesting journey. What are you reading right now? Because you're always reading. So what's your most exciting book right now before we leave?
So what I'm listening to an audiobook by, I think it's Maria Shriver.
Okay.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger's ex-wife.
Sounds familiar. Okay.
And the title is I Am Maria.
Ooh.
And it's a book of, I think the first hour and a half is about her reflections on her life and what she's learned. And then it's a book of poetry about self-healing and walking yourself back to who you are authentically.
How amazing.
I've obviously as well shared reading The Let Them Theory, Mel Robbins. Oh my gosh. And the next one that I'm ordering is the No Bullshit Leadership. There's a podcast and it's all about organizational capability. It breaks it down into acronyms, different fundamentals. Because what I found is I didn't have the language to articulate what it is that I was feeling, what I was seeing. I didn't have the skills to illustrate it. And I certainly didn't have the methodology to make it better. And through the work and the training that I've self-funded and invested in myself, I have those three things.
Amazing. Would be really nice to speak with you again, and you could take us through those three things if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. But
if you don't mind,
read every day, listen to podcasts every day, and just see what happens.
Just see what happens.
What happens.
You heard it here first.
You never know.
You just never know. No. Never know what's around the corner, do you?
No, and I just don't think about it too much.
It's been
I've
delightful.
got you there.
It's been delightful speaking with you. Thank you so much.
You're amazing.
As you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing openly, honestly, and vulnerably about your life story and what you felt and what you've been through. And it's important. I think the name of the podcast is Inspiring Courage, is something that I started back in COVID, just because I started my business like 3 months before COVID hit. Right. I was a in-person networker, and then I had zero digital footprint. I needed to do something to kind of get into the open space, as I was calling it, and to do a podcast was the easiest thing for me, and it was like inspiring people to do what they wanted to do all their life and they hadn't. So I just thought I'll pick it up again, talk about our life experiences since then and what we've achieved, and I'll be speaking to lots of other people as well. So you have been the first. Thank you very much for being here and sharing openly.
And that's exactly what you do. Inspire courage. It's been there all along, hasn't it? You inspire courage. That's what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.